there's still some more companies reporting earnings this month. And now's the time where you can tune in to see what exactly are the impacts of the coronavirus and everything else that's going on these companies right here. So I took a look to see what names are the most prominent, where you might get the most information about what's going on out there globally. And I collected them here just for you. So let's see what they are. The first one out is one of the big chip guys, Broadcom. As you can see, they haven't missed since 2016, so great earnings track record. Of course, some of these might be meats because they're a little bit green on the arrows there. They're small, but they actually haven't missed, so that's a good record. But as you can see, those shares are pulling back here on what's going on in the global economy. We're going to get at least some good indicator of supply and demand in the semiconductors here with this report. So you're going to want to tune in. Is the selling overdone here? Is this a buying opportunity? What do they see happening in the next couple of quarters? Then switching over to Adobe. This is one of the best charts on the streets. It always has been, even with that one miss there in 2018. They otherwise have beaten since 2016. And the shares were, obviously at new 5-year highs here, soaring like they have for the last couple of years. They too have pulled back a little bit in this sell-off, but not even that big of a pullback. And we'll see if they're seeing any impacts and what they see happening globally from businesses. So this is also a key one to tune in on. And then one of the best places to get information is going to be with the retailers. We still haven't heard from all of them. And some of the ones you're going to want to watch are the ones with a global business, like Gap. Now, Gap, as you can see, is already trading at a 5-year low. It doesn't have a bad track record of beating, though. It only has the 2 misses in 5 years, so that's good. But everybody's really going to be wanting to know about their new CEO that they just named, who was the head of Old Navy. They are no longer splitting up the company. So Old Navy's sticking in there for now with the Gap brands, with Banana Republic and Athleta. And what does that mean? How are sales going? Not so much in the U.S., although that will be important too, but globally, again, for the global brands, because they're in Asia and they're in South America, they're in Europe is big. So what's happening globally now, this will be a key one to watch for that issue. And then switching over, still staying in the consumer side, G3 Apparel, you might not know them, but you know a lot of their brands. They too are global and have some global exposure, especially through some of its smaller brands like Villa Briquin, which is designer swimsuits, but they have stores in France and in Mexico. I've seen one. So they have a lot going on globally as well, not to mention manufacturing globally in China and other places. So what's happening with them? These shares also near 5-year lows. I used to own this for multiple years. I finally just sold it a couple weeks ago because I do feel like they're going to get hit hard here with the China shutdown, and then unclear what's going to be happening to the U.S. consumer here over the next couple weeks and months, whether or not the normal consumer buying patterns will be holding up with spring buying and then summer buying, especially with apparel and shoes. So this is also a key one you're going to want to watch. And then wrapping it up, PVH, which is basically a competitor, but also a peer of G3 Apparel. They own Tommy Hilfiger and Calvin Klein. The Tommy brand is big in China. They own it outright there. And you can see this huge decline in the shares here in 2020 because they've been shut down over there. It's not like you're going to a Tommy store anytime over the last month and a half. So you have that issue. They're also huge in Europe, which could be also facing some closures or things going on over there. So PVH also a little dubious here, but they've got a great track record. They haven't missed in 5 years. Good management. Both PVH and G3 Apparel's management have been around in the business forever. They're well-managed companies, but you might be able to get them a lot cheaper here depending on what they say on these conference calls. These two, G3 Apparel and PVH, aren't until the end of March. So there's a lot going on. I included a couple of these companies who aren't reporting this week, but are coming up in the next couple weeks because I'm done with my Earnings All-Star videos for this earnings season. But be sure to tune in with a lot of these consumer names. We are getting other retailers that could give you some good insight about what we might see coming up in the next earnings season, which isn't that far away now into April. So yeah, well, I'll be back in a couple of weeks with more earnings charts. But until then, you might want to follow me on Twitter at Tracy Reinick. It's my handle there. It's just my name. Follow me on Twitter or StockTwits to get even more charts. And as always, subscribe to our YouTube page at Zacks.com/YouTube. And I'll see you again in a couple weeks with the start of the next earnings season.